Welcome everyone to another non-spoiler review on the Reading Writing Corner. I am Leanne, your host for this episode, and we will be talking about Veil of Midnight by Laura Adrian. This story is a part of the Midnight Breed series. Here you go. Part human, part otherworldly, the breed has lived among humankind for thousands of years, maintaining a tentative peace built on secrecy, power, and the dark justice carried out by the formidable warriors of the Order. But now, a blood war within the race is set to ignite. Vampires are going rogue in startling numbers, feeding without discretion, killing humans in the streets. It is up to the Order to stop the spreading threat of rogue domination. And in doing so, each of the warriors will be forced to confront private demons, darkest secrets, deepest fears. Some will know triumph, some will know loss, but each warrior can count on one thing: love. When it finds him, will often come at the worst possible moment with the least likely woman, and it will bring each of these powerful males to his knees. What made me read this book? As you watch the other ones that deal with the Midnight Breed series, obviously the answer is it's the 5th book in the series, and I wanted to read the story arc to the end. Both story arcs that are in it. Here is the blurb for the back of this book, Veil of Midnight. Bound by blood, addicted to danger, they'll enter the darkest, most erotic place of all. A warrior trained in bullets and blades, Renata cannot be bested by any man, vampire or mortal. But her most powerful weapon is her extraordinary psychic ability, a gift both rare and deadly. A stranger threatens her hard-won independence, a golden-haired vampire who lures her into a realm of darkness and pleasure beyond imagining. A combat-loving adrenaline junkie, Nikolai dispenses his own justice to enemies of the breed, and his latest quarry is a ruthless assassin. One woman stands in his way, the seductive, cool-as-ice bodyguard, Renata. But Renata's powers are put to the test when a loved one, a child, is threatened, and she's forced to turn to Nico for help. As the two join forces, as desires fan the flames of a deeper hunger, Renata's life is under siege by a man who offers the exquisite pleasure of a blood bond and a passion that could save or doom them both forever. Nico searches for Sergei Yakut to warn him about someone killing Gen 1 breed males. Renata is being used by Sergei Yakut as a guard as he holds a little girl hostage while also using the little girl for her visions. Renata's only goal in life at that time is to protect the child, and Nico goes out of his way to help her because he wants to keep Gen 1s and all breed mates safe. The character setup was done in different chapters as each one was introduced to you. The background slowly trickled down to the reader as each character learns about it. The plot is set out in a way for one to understand, someone offering Gen 1 breed and the Order trying to stop it. Nico saves Renata and Mira at the same time from the cruelty of Sergei Yakut. The characters react in their situations in a very human way or vampiric way, as the breed are. The genre is, of course, paranormal romance. Did this live up to my expectations? Yes. More story with sex and romance, violence and blood, and very little overall plot, which was my expectations for this story. Which character did I relate to the most? None of them this time around. Like, seriously, there was none that I could really relate to in any way, shape, or form. So, none. What was more important, the characters or the plot? The characters were more important than the overall plot. The plot was moved by the characters in this book, just like the others. There are multiple voices in this one, but it didn't affect my reading at all. Like normal, I'm not affected by any kind of different voice or anything. No shift can ruin a reading for me, unless it's just terribly bad grammar in writing in general. That's about the only thing. I'm going to end the non-spoiler part of this review with, should you go and read this story/series? Yes, if you like alien vampires, sex, romance, and are invested in the story and characters already within the universe. I mean, if you're this far, you are 5 books deep. 4 books deep. You need to go to the 5th one. You just got to, okay? There's just no other way around it. So, if you want to skip out and not see the rest of the video, which is the spoiler review section, you can go ahead and drop a like, a comment, or even your hard-earned subscription if you feel I deserve it, or you just want to hand one out to see more, maybe. Okay, folks, Have all the people who didn't want to be spoiled leave? I hope so, because I am now going to give everybody what they want. Spoiler review time. There is no new lingo for this book. Sorry, folks. Here are the characters you meet in this book that are new. Renata, she is a breedmate. Her power, she calls Mind Blaster. Pain within the mind that only works on breed. She's very protective of her adoptive daughter, Mira. Alexei, son of Sergei Yukat. He wants to take over of his father's business. And his father's business is very dangerous. He takes and makes breed fight against each other and sells breed mates for naughty stuff. Mira, aka Mouse, she has precognition, but she does not see or interprets the visions which play out for the observer as though in a mirror. Because each time someone sees something inside of her eyes, when they look at her eyes without a veil in front of it, which is what's used to protect her eyes, they see their own future. And there's nothing she can say about it because she doesn't see the future. Only they do. Only the person who looks in her eyes does. And it does have a cost. She loses more of her eyesight, so eventually she will go blind from this. Sergei Yukat. He's a Gen 1. And he's been around for a very long time. So he doesn't act like it. He acts older than Lucan. You then have Edgar Fabian, who's an enforcement agent. The last one is Hunter. He is a blood reader, a Gen 1 born from a breedmate in the ancient by Dragos orders, and treated terribly. And I mean terrible. Just terrible way that he was raised, with a collar that if he did anything wrong, he would have his head explode. It would end his life. And we'd burn him to death. It was like with some liquid sunlight. So yeah, it was terrible. The several POVs within this story are Nikolai, Nico, Renata, Alexei, Andres, Rachel, Dragos, Lucan, and Fabian. I like his last name better than I do his first, because Edgar, Fabian, really? Just call him Fabian. My favorite character was Mira because she retained her innocence throughout everything. But I mean, in the end, she wants to sit there and read Disney fairy tales to Hunter, somebody that was sent to kill. Had been trained to kill. My most disliked character was Sergei Yakut for the way he treated Renata and Mira. He acted like he owned them and that he could end their lives at any time. It was terrible. It was told in chronological order with very appropriate language. The foreshadowing and suspense was effective to keep you reading to see what would happen to poor Renata and Mira. Especially Mira. She didn't deserve none of what happened to her. Like she was just born at the wrong place and wrong time. The background was explained enough for the reader to understand where everyone was coming from. The only detail that was not given was how Sergei Yakut got his hands on Mira. Like, that's not explained how Mira came to be. It's literally not, and it's weird. The title of the book pointed to Mira wearing a veil over her eyes to prevent people from looking into them and seeing a vision of their future. And the cover of the book was about the city it took place in for most of the book. I actually don't remember what city it took place in, but it was not in Boston. It was somewhere up north where Sergei Yakut lived. But what stood out as memorable was how a normal human breedmate could stand and win against the breed. Because Renata could. She could whip a breed's butt. But mainly it was because of her ability to mind blast them, like give them pain and cripple them in a way that made it hard for them to fight back. My favorite passage from the story is, Christ, Renata, when I look in your eyes, one word leaps into my mind every single time. Forever. Nico says that to Renata. Isn't that so sweet? My favorite quote, for fuck's sake, there's more. You can swear it's over more bad news being shared with him. I mean, like, geez, I agree with you. He gets a lot of bad news at once in like the middle of the book about a lot of stuff, a lot of long lists of laundry of terrible stuff that happens. It starts with Sergei Yakut being a bastard and more. What I thought about the ending of the book, Mouse will tame Hunter from a lion into a kitten. Because she is just that innocent and that determined to I don't know, treat Hunter like a normal human being that he hasn't been treated like since he was born? Does it even tell you how long he was in captive? Like 50, 60, 70 years, I think it was. It's a long time. Be treated like an expendable arm and you have no options at all. And then he got free somehow, which I'm glad for because he didn't deserve what Dragos did to him at all. What book or series did it remind me of? The Nightwalker series by Jacqueline Frank. I'm going to end the non-spoiler review part with this, as I will typically with all of these. This is part of a series. There are 27 books in total, 10 for the first part, 8 for the second part, and the others are all novella in between that start after book 9, except for the prequel novella. I will see you